It's a short talk where peace begins. We talk life, love, and what's within. Movies, healing, self-care flow, real talk, safe space, let it grow. It's a short talk where hearts unwind. Sip your peace, speak your mind. It's a short talk, feel the vibe. It's your moment, come alive.
Hello again, everyone. Welcome back to Easter Short Talk, your podcast for all things self-care and movies. If this is your first time tuning in, welcome. We're glad to have you. If you're watching on YouTube, hit like, hit subscribe, and leave a comment below. If you're listening on one of the other podcast platforms, follow, subscribe, and leave a comment or a review. We are on episode 87, and I'm Jay Watson.
And I'm Cathy Castle.
And Cathy and I, since it's about that time, since we had this past week we had the first of the holidays of the holiday season. I like to say Halloween kind of kicks off the holiday season. We thought we'd get into talking about how a lot of folks can feel some kind of sort of way in a bad way for different reasons around the holidays. And we're going to get into that here shortly with seasonal affective disorder and holiday blues and seasonal depression and etc. All the terms and clinical descriptors of how people feel around this time of year. First of all, we're going to do something we haven't done in a while. We're going to do a little check-in. So what's going on with Castle?
Hey now. We're busy. Well, I feel like that's all I ever say is we're busy. We did Halloween. We always do a traditional Halloween party at our house where the kids and some adults dress up. So that was fun. We did that. It was windy. It was cold. It was a little cold and a little windy. But we had a good night. We had a good Halloween night for the trick-or-treaters. And then, Jay, I've been working really hard with a group of people that we graduated with, working on our class reunion that's going to be next weekend and getting all the things together for that. People have been it's been really fun to talk to people that I haven't talked to in forever. And there's so many people that are interested that maybe have not been to other reunions. So I'm pretty excited about that. And it just reminds me why our little class 85 is so unique. I'm excited.
I'm not gonna do the actual Elks dinner part for anxiety purposes, but I'm gonna try to stop into the Bannings Friday evening for a little bit.
And if you change your mind, come on, I'll give you a job.
No, I'm not going to change my mind. It is what it is, and I've talked about that before. It's too much. I almost feel like I would do a disservice to other folks there because I would last about 30 minutes and then would find a corner somewhere
Bye.
and I would disappear. Yeah, and then that's not.
Come be seen on Friday.
Yeah, I'm a little bit more able to kind of handle something like that. So yeah, I'm going to try to pop by.
Yeah, but it really has been fun. I feel like people have gotten to at our age, we're all like, there's a very big, genuine gratitude about being here still, I've been so happy as we talk about self-care all the time with the conversations I've had with classmates about gratitude, grateful that people are putting something together, grateful to see people, so many first timers that we haven't seen. And, this is our 40th year and people are just really excited. We have joked that we need to change our, name tags from these little ones to really big ones. Walk around like with something around our neck and really big because our eyesight isn't as good. Yeah. But anyway, it's going to be good. That's kind of been our week so far.
So, it's funny. I get sick like once.
Why am I laughing? I just laughed at you. You said I get sick and I laugh.
Well, I get sick once a winter. Usually, I'll get something. And I'm not talking about a cold because everybody gets colds pretty regularly. But I got hit with some kind of stomach bug over the weekend, so I was a little under the weather, and man, I just was. I was out of it. I slept and slept and
What kind of
slept.
virus,
I caught up in my sleep. That's for darn sure because I slept a lot. Started feeling a little bit better yesterday, a little bit better today.
Good.
So hopefully the next day or two.
You doing all the right things? getting the
Oh, yeah.
electrolytes and the
Yep, I've locked,
soup.
loaded up on Gatorade, and I take potassium anyway because of
Hmm.
my blood pressure medication causes me to flush out
Okay.
fluid, so that when that happens, I lose electrolytes. So I take potassium pills anyway. But I've been drinking lots and lots of Gatorade and all that kind of stuff. So I'm not dehydrated. I've kept myself, hydrated and stuff like that. So that's been good. And I haven't really felt terrible. I just, have been visiting the bathroom a lot and just run down and tired, and I haven't, my appetite's not really been there. I've been eating meals, but not like regular meals. Last night and tonight was the first like dinners, like regular full size dinners I've had. Before I would have like a snack bar, or I would eat something, but just like a banana or something lighter like that. Because I just didn't feel like eating. I wasn't hungry. Like I said, I started feeling a little bit better yesterday, a little bit better today. So I'm getting there. By the end of the week, I'll
Tis the season probably for all that kind of
yeah.
stuff.
It's
Hand
funny when
sanitizer. You gotta use your hand sanitizer, Jay. Put it in
well,
your
I tell you, ever since the COVID thing, I have hands. I've got some right here by the computer.
right.
I've
Me
got
too.
it at work. I've got it in my car. Just when the whole COVID thing happened, and we all had it
Every
everywhere.
single time I
I
get in the
kept
car, I
doing it. I
use it.
still do it as if
Yeah,
COVID was
me
still
too.
going on.
Every single time I
Um,
get in the car.
and I did get a very mild bout of COVID. It would probably have been 2022, kind of in a midway between the beginning and now. But I went a while there because I was hand sanitizing all the time. I didn't catch a cold or anything for the longest time. I'm
Yeah.
like, man, this is great because I'm sanitizing everything because of COVID. I wasn't getting sick at all. But that's come and gone. I know last year I got some kind of bug in like January, February. Maybe I'm doing mine early this year and I'll be good the rest of the winter. So hope I'm not jinxing
Get it out
myself.
of the way, right?
Yeah, so yeah, and then Saturday night overnight the clocks went back, and that's kind of falls in line with part of what we're talking about tonight with seasonal affective disorder. So that'll be a good way to just kind of transition from that. So yeah, it's funny, Kathy. I when I was younger, the this time of year with it being dark earlier bothered me more than it does now. It doesn't really. I tend to, not just from a daylight standpoint, but just from a weather standpoint, I tend to enjoy the change of seasons more now than I did when I was younger. When it's summertime and it's hot, I'm like, okay, it's nice, it's great. I love the beach, but I'm done with hot weather. I'm ready for the fall. I'm ready to put a jacket on in the morning. But then when it's wind chills are 10 below after a while in the middle of winter, I'm like, okay, I'm ready with the winter. Now I want a 70-degree day, in March or whatever. So I like it to change periodically, which is strange for me to say. I kind of, I find that I'm not bothered. It's funny. I'm looking out my window, and it's dark already. I'm not bothered by the dark being,
It's dark.
I'm not as bothered by it now as I found that there are certain types of things I like to watch streaming wise at night, and there are certain ones I prefer to watch during the day.
Really?
Yeah, like I would not watch a series during the day because I'm so used to when we were growing up watching all the series we watched. We watched them at night.
I'll tell you what. I don't watch series during the day. Yeah.
So I
Same
look
here.
at it like, okay,
I
now
didn't
I
think
can
about
watch
it.
a series
But
now.
I
It expands my streaming library because it's dark now. So I kind of it doesn't bother me, but
I
I'm
don't.
sure after a while I'll be tired of it
I didn't know I did that. I did. That's what I do. I don't watch a series in the
because
day.
we grew up when that you watched the series. We would watch series at 8 o'clock at night, or
Secretly conditioned.
unless you were somebody that watched soap operas in the middle of the day. But that's not. I don't
But
really.
that's what you did when you were at grandma's house because you were homesick, and then
Yep,
you had your peepers on Mrs. Chancellor and all the shenanigans.
yep. You got. It's funny. It was almost like I would get sent to a relative's house and have to watch soap operas
You
to
would.
convince me I didn't want to miss school because I didn't want to have to watch the soap operas.
They made us watch. We watched The Price is Right, and then we watched the soaps. So we got ourselves a grilled cheese sandwich, and we were all covered up. So we were all into the soaps at like 8 years old because that's, whoever was watching you was watching them. We saw all the dirt early.
But
So
I
we
didn't.
can thank our grandmothers and relatives for all that scarring at a young age. Huh?
We talked a little bit about this same topic this time last year, and we talked a little bit about seasonal affective disorder, and I've been reading more about it, and I didn't realize that it was tied very much to the time shift and how there's less daylight and vitamin D deficiencies and all that kind of stuff. And I
Well,
know
let's break it down. Let's break it down.
you've got some articles, I'm sure, to
Yeah.
talk about that specifically. And then we'll kind of talk about some other descriptors and categories of things for this time of year.
Well, I think we all are familiar with that term, seasonal affective disorder. Gosh, I have the holiday blues, I have the winter blues. But I was thinking deep about this today. I mean, it is in the stadium, it's not the game, maybe. It's in the realm, whatever, of depression. It doesn't mean that you full out, have a depressive disorder, but it's some of those same kind of feelings. So obviously it's important to pay attention to, but what I was thinking about today, you know, we've talked about stigma, and there's so much stigma on brain health or brain illness, mental illness, whatever you want to call it. I really don't like to call it mental illness. I like to call it brain health, brain illness. But how come it's acceptable to say seasonal depression disorder, and it's not? And there's less stigma on that than it is on regular depression. I thought about this today. I was like, what is that? Because we have something to blame. We have Father Time and Mother Nature to blame on seasonal affective disorder. It's not our fault. It's we put the clocks back. It's darker, right? I was just thinking about that today. But anyway, so let's talk about. So I wouldn't mind. Let's talk about what is it? What does it look like? How does it show up? What are we doing? And then I can certainly talk about some of the other factors that come into it besides the weather. And then I found some very interesting thing about sunlight, and I found some very interesting things about how to help, how to combat this seasonal affective stuff. So I don't know. You want to start with a piece of let's define it? Like, what does it look
Well,
like?
yeah.
Show
So
up?
what I read, Kathy, was because I dove a little bit more into it for this episode. That seasonal affective disorder specifically is tied very much to the time change and how there is less, we are less active in the daylight, so therefore there can be vitamin D deficiency from the sun, from sunlight. Not that you can't get vitamin D from other sources, but it also can change your serotonin and melatonin
Right.
production, so your sleep can be affected. So it's actually a physiological
Yeah.
thing. It's not just
Yeah.
a psychological perception of how things are because it's dark at 5:30. There are things that actually happen to our chemistry and our physiology that
I want to
affect
pause
us.
on that. I want to come back to that because that's the thing I love about our bodies is the whole science of it. But I want to come back to that. But I want to say what this looks like in us. Like obvious, we're feeling kind of down, right? People are like, less energy. I mean, I say it all the time. It's dark. It's cold. I don't feel like doing that. I don't feel like getting my car. It's too cold. I don't feel like driving across town to Target because it's so far away. Maybe our sleeping's a little off. How
Now,
about
I'll let you finish, but
or sleep more?
well, here's the thing. I actually listened to a sleep expert talk about the time changes. She had a different view, but I'll let you go ahead and finish
Okay.
that, and I'll pop back. Yeah.
How about our eating? I'll tell you what. I am. I need to check myself with my eating because one, the scale said, "Hello, what are you doing?" But it's easy for me right now to be like, "Oh, just forget it. I'm gonna go." I mean, and there's candy everywhere because it was just Halloween, so I'm like, just forget it. I have eaten the icing tops off of more cupcakes in the last 2 weeks that we've made for birthdays and whatever. And I'm like, what am I doing? And I'm like, for breakfast, let me grab that on the way out. That's not my usual, but why not? So At least for me, my eating's been a little off. How about a little bit of social isolation? Some people probably start to shut her down, and I don't feel like peopling right now.
Yeah.
Somebody said it to me today. I hope I don't see it. I got to go to blah, but I hope I don't see anybody know because I don't feel like talking to people today. And then you add in things like stress because we're starting to get into holiday seasons, like you said. So that adds more tasks to do, or more pressure that we put on ourselves, or our attempts to try to make a perfect holiday. That's my problem. And then I can't say no. So things are piling up, piling up. Maybe people are doing some travel because it's holiday, and that can bring it, even though it's good things, it brings in stress because you have more tasks to do, or your internal clocks are out of whack. Temperature, it's colder. We've already talked about that. Maybe less physical activity because again, it's cold.
There's the thing. That's what I was going to talk about because if you think about it, all the things that we talk about with self care, all the activities that a lot of the nature based, going outside for a
Yes,
walk or going kayaking or you know now in the middle of the summer you can leave work at 5 o'clock and have plenty of time to go for a bike ride or you know go canoeing or whatever because it doesn't get dark till 8:30. Well, now that's not the case. So although you just have to now shift them to 5:30 in the morning where it's later earlier. So you can still do them because the light shifts to the morning time versus in the
but
evening time.
if you're like me, I'm like, oh, it's warm. I'm cold. I'm warm. I don't want to get up right yet.
Now the sleep expert said, Kathy, thinking talking about sleeping, she said
I
that
love to talk about sleep.
initially when the time change first happens, it can be an adjustment. But she says as the winter goes on, as that condition of it being darker sooner is prolonged, we tend to sleep better because we equate darkness with going to sleep. So we tend to
Yeah.
go to sleep earlier and actually average slightly more sleep during the winter than
Okay.
we do in summer hours. A, because it's darker, so we're conditioned to sleep in the dark, and B, because there are more waking hours and we're busier, so we're cramming more things into the day in the summer. So there's just less hours to potentially sleep, if that makes sense to you. There are just fewer hours to sleep. So she said we tend, and it's not drastically different, but we tend to get more sleep in the winter than we do in the summer. So she says, yes, all the things we talk about with whether it's perception or the physiology with hormones are true. Actually, sleep after the initial adaptation to the time change happens, we actually tend to sleep a little bit better during the winter, like a bear.
Like a bear. We get grouchy like a bear. Well, so I think a lot of people understand the seasonal depression or blues. So we'll just say seasonal blues. We get that. And we understand how it makes us feel. I really do believe most people understand that feeling. But
Well, I kind of broke it down into three categories, Kathy. And there's probably different ones, but on my post, I talked about I'll call it SAD, seasonal affective disorder, specifically around the time change. Then there is what I'm just going to generally call holiday blues, where it's stressful. It's there's a lot of money involved and family trying to coordinate travel and schedules, and it's just a lot of logistics involved with the holidays, with especially big families. So it's just a lot. So there's that. There's also that category where we are as we start gathering with family and coming together for Thanksgiving and Christmas, we're reminded of those in our family that are no longer with us. So the holidays, because they all kind of are clumped together, Thanksgiving and Christmas and New Year's are all back to back to back, where there's this big 2 month period of time where we're reminded of those that we're missing in our lives. That we're
so I think what I hear you're saying, and I agree, I think this is all really lumped together. But it's because it happens at that time. It's the times change, the stress of all the tasks. But there is definitely, I agree with you. There's this other thing that factors in this grief component.
yes,
Because I read something the other day that I could relate to, but I guess you could do this with a lot of things. This is an article that said how moms, it's almost like as your kids are getting older, it's like you're going through a slow breakup, because you grieve the different stages of what you had with kids, but you can't change it. You can't go back to it.
Yeah.
right? And I know every new stage is you should be grateful, thankful, happy, and all that. But it's still, as I think we do, we grieve the past, we grieve what we don't have anymore, we grieve what we should have had. Even for you, you haven't had kids, but you grieve what your childhood should have looked like, what you deserve. So all the things pile up to for us to be like, dang, here we are. But yet it's a happy time and we should be so happy, right?
I think the point is, Kathy, there's, people, a lot of folks, can feel some kind of way, you know, down in the dumps during this time of year, and there are different reasons for it.
Right.
It's just,
Yes.
and it might be all three. You might fall into all three categories.
We should make an inventory. I know there's things out there, there's measurement tools. We should make our own inventory, our Eastern Shore Talk seasonal inventory.
Yeah.
You can do it at October, November, December, January. Check in with yourself. Where are you? What's got you? I mean, I joke, but I don't joke. Maybe take a little inventory. Here I am. It's beginning of November. Thanksgiving's the next thing coming up. Like, what's got me in all the things? Am I sad that I'm getting ready to miss my palm trees that I got to cut down that I still haven't? Am I tense because shopping's getting ready to come around the corner and I don't want to miss a sale? Because that is anxious. That's anxiety for me. Am I worried this is my last Christmas with whoever? There's a lot of things that hit us. So we probably should take inventory, maybe each of these holiday months, and say, okay, what's going on? And just make note of it. You
So
don't have to fix it.
yeah, my question to you, Kathy, as the clinician, is our should our approach with navigating, we'll just talk about these three categories, is our approach to navigating them different based on the category it falls in? In other words, do we go about navigating the time change in a different way than we do the stresses of shopping and logistics and all that comes with the holidays? Is our approach now? You and I would say self care, self care, self care, and that's going to be true no matter what. But is how we tackle those differently? Is my question.
I would, if you're asking me, if you put me on the spot with that, I just taught about this today actually to a group in the community. I'd go back to that wheel of wellness. Everybody can Google that. We love, me and Marty love that wheel of wellness. Like, take stock. What's going on intellectually, financially, physically, emotionally? What are you missing? Where is it? And how's it showing up? What do you think you need to do to make yourself feel better in that category? Whether it's grief or I'm not, it's dark out, I can't do my usual nighttime walk or whatever the reason is. You got to figure out what it is in that wellness wheel. And then don't put too much pressure on yourself. Figure out what it is. Make yourself a bit of a plan, even if you tackle one thing. That's what I would say. Now, clearly, if somebody's clinically hurting even more, you obviously can seek some help or talk to somebody or implement what are your things you love that can get you to neutral. I talked about you to Jay today in my training with dispatch. I told them all about you and some of your clever things and they agreed. Yeah, see, you're helping and don't even know you're helping people.
So it's funny, Kathy. I've talked about my family situation quite a bit on the podcast, and it used to be, and it's funny how the holidays were very kind of how do I describe this? I've talked about how I chose relationships for the wrong reasons when I was younger because of my past trauma and trying to fill a void, in a different way, in an unhealthy way. I've talked about that before. Part of that was the holidays, and let me explain. I remember, like, my early 20s, I wasn't dating anyone. Our family, didn't really get together or whatever. So it was lonely for me. That was one of the few lonely periods of my life because when holidays came around, there was just nowhere to go and nobody to hang out with. So I think part of my unhealthy motivation in wanting a relationship added
Mm.
on to my other trauma was that I didn't want to be alone for the holidays. It just was terrible. In my 20s and into my 30s, probably wasn't until I turned 40 there was kind of a turning point for me at about 40 where I was able to separate that component and not, now it's like I love the holidays. I mean, I'm texting you all the time talking about when the Holly Channel, which started
I
today.
know.
Yep.
Oh, that
You
was a
know,
little disappointing. Their lineup midday today.
yeah. And Marty and I are checking out when the Hallmark countdown to Christmas and all that. I've been watching that. So
Him
I
too.
love me some
He's
holidays.
watching it. He's on it.
I've been watching both channels, like
He's
double
been
bill.
flipping. I'm like, Marty, what's the channel? And he can spit them out. Either one.
So I just, it's opposite for me now, Kathy. Like
Love it.
I decorate the store
Yeah.
and play, and like
You've embraced
November, about
Friday.
November 15th, I'll start playing holiday music at the store nonstop until I come back after the break.
Mariah unfreezes at the store on November the 15th.
I get bummed when I come back from Christmas break and I got to take all the decorations down. That bothers me. I don't, you know, I'm, as for someone who doesn't like to be, social and around big crowds, and I don't like traffic and all that kind of stuff. Like I love the holiday crowds in the stores, like the hustle and bustle of like, but like the stores are decorated for the holidays, and you're driving to Target and you see, well, like for me, I drive by the firehouse and it's always lit up for Christmas, so I see that. So it's so funny how during holidays I love all that hustle and bustle and people, and
The little boy comes out.
yeah, I'm so peoply then. It's like I get my fill for a couple months and
You
then
got a bottle that for me.
I get 12 months worth in a 2 month period and I'm done.
I love
Um,
it. I do love that.
so it's kind of, it's opposite for me, or I'm like right now I'm tickled because it's just starting. Like today I turned in my car, I turned on Holly just to see if it was playing. It was on.
Here it
And I
was 79.
texted you, I texted Cathy and I
Turned it
played
on.
it was
Marty turned it right on as soon as you sent that.
it was Taylor Swift's Christmas Tree Farm. And I didn't realize she actually grew up on a Christmas tree
I
farm.
didn't know that.
That's why she wrote that song. Anyway, I was driving back from St. Max. I'm like, oh, let me check to see if it really did start today. Sure enough,
Yeah, it
it was
did.
on.
I love it. I do love it. I'll tell you, people are starting to decorate too. Like my neighbors, my son and daughter in law, they've already Christmased the house. I was like, whoa, what? What happened to the pumpkin pie? And then,
Alicia Salisbury did it like
did
the
she,
day after Halloween is her thing.
some of
She
these
put her
people
tree
like
up Saturday.
Thanksgiving. So I was in one of our youth programs today, and they're like, "Do you think it's all right if we go right to Christmas?" I'm like, "Y'all do you. If that makes you happy and the kids happy, there's no rules anymore. Do what you want. You put a little turkey somewhere. I don't know."
Yeah,
Let's go back, Jay, to the body because I'm just fascinated by the magical biological beings that we are.
yeah.
It's just fascinating to me,
Body chemistry is
right?
impacted by so many things. Yeah,
So this whole circadian rhythm thing, right? And people may hear that, oh, you need to go reset your circadian rhythm, or my circadian rhythm is out of whack. And I don't know that I always fully understood what people were talking about. Or maybe that's those tree huggers that are going to hug trees and that's what they do. And then they get straight, right? But it's a real thing, right? Your circadian rhythm and I'm reading right now, obviously, is the body's natural 24-hour cycle that regulates physical, mental, and behavioral changes, including sleep wake patterns, hormone release, your appetite. So it's like your body's master clock. So the interesting thing about our biological clock, if you want to call it like that, and I don't mean when you're having children, I don't mean that biological clock. I
yeah,
mean your all the things, the hormone release, what our bodies naturally needs to recharge, like the sleep and things like that. But I didn't realize how much this sunlight thing, and then I did a
yeah,
whole research into the sunlight thing. I know I feel better with sun. I know that it's important, but it's a whole thing. Like we need it, and like you said, sunlight helps our body produce vitamin D, which has a whole load of things that vitamin D does for our body. It boosts serotonin. Sunlight boosts serotonin, which is the hormone that helps our mood be better. And it actually slows melatonin. And melatonin is such a catchy thing, right? People want to get melatonin so like sleep better or whatever. when it's darker out, like right now, the melatonin starts to kick in a little quicker. So we're a little draggy, a little more tired.
Designed to sleep when it's dark.
Yeah.
Yes.
So, I think these are really important. So if you think of serotonin, that's the mood thing. You think of melatonin, it's the sleep thing. And you think of the circadian rhythm, that's our internal clock. So we got to make sure this stuff is oiled up, cranked up right? And if it's not, then we're going to see some patterns that aren't jiving. We're not working right. And I was just looking at this clock. This actually says the average teen circadian cycle. I didn't realize that it didn't say adult, but anyway, it can't be too far off for the average adult. Talking about in the morning, like that's when our energy is up. 10 a.m. This is a teen. I'm just gonna say it, call it a teen, but you can get the gist of it. Like from 10 to 1, I guess they tend to sleep later, right? So when you get up, your body's temperature rises throughout the morning. You're more alert. You're more sharp. And then in the afternoon, we're all familiar with this. We might feel a little more blah, whatever that time period is, 2 to 5, whatever. Might crave a little snack. As we get older, that little time frame might start a little earlier. And then at night, the melatonin, when it gets darker, the melatonin starts to creep in, the sleep hormone, and we start to shut her down a little bit at whatever time it is. Now, we know about the blue lights coming in on all the technology that may mess that whole system up. And then we know about the middle of the night. Technically, your energy is supposed to be at its lowest. Your internal clock starts to kick in where you're sleeping in those deep sleeps. But it's just, and then the sunlight piece, and the research varies about how much per day you're supposed to get, right? And the widest range I've seen is somewhere between 10 and 30 minutes a day. And then the average, I might see 16 to 20. That you should try to get that, to keep the Tin Man well oiled, right? So
I heard, Kathy, that I heard somebody say that if you did not get vitamin D from any other source, you would need to be in the sun for an hour a day to get your recommended day. That's if didn't get vitamin D from any other source.
yeah,
So
which you can't
we're
get
probably
it.
going by, yeah.
And goodness, there's poor people in Alaska.
Yeah.
So I just think it's interesting. So we know we feel blah, and we think we know what it came from, but I think it's important to know our bodies and what we're fighting against. And so then what do you do about it? Right? So we just said one thing. You can try to get sunlight. And there's even trackers on my Apple Watch. I can see how
You
much.
can get up earlier and get your sunlight earlier before you go to work,
So you can still go outside. A lot
Yep.
of people still want to be outside, and I think outside is such a great thing. But if it's too cold for you, too cold for me, can you get near a window? Can you be like the cat that's in the sunny window for a little
Yep.
while, where you sit and just soak it
Read a
in?
book or something, yeah.
Look, only YouTube people can see this, but I have a light that I
Yeah,
bought,
light therapy. Yep.
light therapy, and then I don't want to blind. But look, it's really
Yeah.
shining. You can, golly day. Okay, maybe not that bright,
You
but
just got your allowance in it 3 seconds right
I
there.
know. But you can adjust these things. You can get them right off of Amazon. Different prices. I think this is probably $35 maybe, but you have to have 10,000 lux. I don't even know what that means. X. I don't know. So anyway, they'll give you all their reviews on Amazon. But I have one of these lights, and they say, you know, have I used it consistently? No, because it's like everything I get that I think I need that I don't use consistently. But I've pulled it out.
Like your what's your pillow? Meditation pillow.
Yeah. I saw a good meme today that had this whole scholastic book fair from kids of Gen X. They're like, "This is what started my whole habit of buying things I don't need." The Scholastic book fair. Anyway, I digress. So these lights, 16 to 24 inches from you. Don't be like all in it with your face all in it, but put it,
Yeah.
maybe if you're at work, put it somewhere near you. They say to do it in the morning. That's the best time to do it, in the morning. So that's an idea that people could do.
Yep.
Continue to get outside, or get near a window and get cozy and look at your book or whatever, or buy a light lamp. do vitamin,
Yeah, you get your vitamin D in another source on
other
some other way.
sources. I mean, I don't know if you have thought, I didn't really look up food sources. I know obviously.
Well, dairy is big, but if you're lactose intolerant, but you can actually buy vitamin D supplements. So, if it comes to that, you could do that. Vitamin D is actually there's certain vitamins that you shouldn't take too much of it. But so I don't want to give anybody the wrong.
Right. We're not doctors.
Yeah, just ask your doctor about vitamin D because there are certain ones there's certain ones that your body only uses. You could take 1,000,000 grams of, and your body's only going to use what it needs, and it just flushes the rest. But there are you can actually get sick by others. So I don't want to. Yeah, just ask your doctor.
Ask your health professionals, whatever. And then the other things are obvious. Some of this is stuff we talk about every single podcast is get which is the self-care stuff. Get more physical activity because the more movement. It doesn't we don't have to be the gym rat like Che. But move yourself. What do we need to do for stress management? Because this is the biggest, maybe some of the biggest argument. You could argue that this is the biggest time of the year that we need stress management. What does that look like for you individually? We need to take care of our sleep hygiene. If we're not getting to sleep or we're waking up or something's happening, we got to figure that out. Last night I was spraying magnesium mist on the bottom of my feet because I read that somewhere. If you put magnesium on the bottom of your feet, that it could be helpful. I don't know if it did or didn't. And some people choose to take some antidepressant medication, and just know that if you do, that it's going to take you on average a couple weeks, 2 weeks to really get your body used to that. So I know we as humans want quick fixes, and sometimes when you're experimenting with medications that are prescribed by your doctor, you might need to give it a little time and work with them. So,
And I would say, Kathy, look, self care, that's what this podcast is all about. Self care is good no matter what time of year it is, but it's probably more important this time of year because there are more contributing factors to people maybe not feeling.
wait, we have a customer here on Facebook. Somebody from the garden spa said, I guess this is vitamin D3 and K2 to help with absorption.
There you go. So, garden spa, explain that a little bit better.
That's true. Help us. Wish we could pipe somebody in. Here, I'll write back.
Yeah, I'm doing that right now.
You? Okay.
So, garden spa, explain that a little bit better.
That's true. Help us. Jay, wish we could pipe somebody in.
Yeah, turn your volume down, Kathy. You called in the radio.
I just had to shut Facebook up. I had to turn it off. I had to turn myself off. Imagine that.
So you're getting back to the
I've never had to shut own self up, Jay.
the self care. It's probably more important this time of year because there's more things that can send our mind in a not so great place. As we've talked about, at least 3 categories we've talked about this evening. And it's funny, as we were talking, Kathy, I got to thinking about like the whole idea, and I'll just use Thanksgiving as an example. How these 3 categories they have the whole idea of what they call friendsgiving, where folks that don't really have family, they get together and shoot. What did you? My things a lot of it. What is it? The spaghetti house that does the Thanksgiving meal for the community, makes Thanksgiving dinner.
Did I say that?
I saw that last year. It's been the last couple of years.
Maybe. All right, we're trying to read Facebook. We're not good at doing 2 things at one time. We ask people for help, and then we're not good at. So I guess our friend from the garden spa is answering back to us. You want to read it, Jay? Or you want me to read it?
Yeah, they're saying K2 helps with absorption. Most supplements have it measured out for you because I was talking about being safe with what you're taking. They're saying that, especially if you do like a multivitamin. I do know with a multivitamin, they'll kind of they'll break down all the supplements if it's a multivitamin, and it's kind of safe that way. And they'll just tell you, X amount of pills per day or whatever. So because that vitamin D's it's pretty, vitamin D deficiency is not it's not good. It's probably just as psychologically impactful as it is physiologically impactful.
We should get somebody to come on and talk about vitamins because it always interests me too that,
What vitamin does what thing? Yeah.
And do we, I guess we all usually have a primary care physician, and I don't know if that's the person to ask or if there's, some of these alternative therapy places where they just do a panel and find out what we really are deficient in individually. Like, what do we need more of? I know we're all probably lacking something for the most part, and we're targeting in general all the things, but is there something that somebody's lacking more than others? We should probably have somebody in at some point to kind of talk about that from a health perspective.
So is there, Kathy, I'm wondering, getting back to the Friendsgiving idea, is there something like that for Christmas? Is there say,
I think the firehouse does things.
in other words, like maybe you don't have a family, but you still want to get together, and I'm not talking about just like Christmas dinner. I'm talking about, I don't even know what that would be because it's, you know, I don't know how that would work because to me, Thanksgiving is less personal than Christmas,
Right.
if that makes sense. So to me, at least in my opinion, like Christmas is more really wrapped around family where, you're exchanging gifts with folks and things like that. Where Thanksgiving, you're just coming together and having a meal, more or less. Not to minimize that because it's a wonderful thing to do. But like I said, Spaghetti House has done it for the last year or two. So they're just kind of giving a place where people that may not have folks to gather with can gather with other folks that,
But you,
you
you
know,
bring up a good point. Is what you're saying is another way to help with some of this is the human connection that we all
yes.
say that we need. And if you don't have the traditional stressed out household, maybe you could seek other ways to find human connection, whether it's a local restaurant where somebody's putting on an event or you're volunteering for some kind of a soup kitchen or whatever, or get with another person and say, let's just get in the car and go somewhere and make a new tradition. I think there's a lot of ways to do it. Maybe Jay, you need to hop. You need to start something at the movies. A dine and
Holiday movie, and yeah.
yeah. We need to ask the movie theater if we can put a little station out in the lobby against the wall, right? Get your plate of meatballs and go in and watch
That's not Christmassy. Meatballs aren't Christmassy.
whatever. Come on, it's for some people.
Well, I guess.
Get your turkey on
Yeah.
a kebab and take it to the theater. I don't know.
You got my head spinning now. I'm like, man, what could be that thing?
I'm going to tell you what. I think the movie theater should do it. I don't know if they're allowed, but wouldn't that be cool if you had some? I'm not just talking about traditional popcorn. You had yourself a little plate that you made. You can go in there, and if you spilled on those leather seats, maybe meatballs is bad because they're greasy.
Getting back to the self care, I'm thinking maybe it's a matter of like since the sun sets earlier and we're quote unquote stuck in the house. Maybe not so much this time of year because it's not really cold yet. But maybe that's the time you kind of do like family game nights or Friday movie night with the family or whatever the case is, where you're you know especially when you've got kids that are of age that are social and when it's daylight hours they're at different friends they're all over the neighborhood, so
Games are so.
maybe
I need to give a game suggestion. Can I give a game suggestion?
yeah.
If you out there in Facebook land or podcast land haven't played the game Sequence, it's so much fun, and we play it all the time. So it's this the idea of it is this board, and there's all the cards are on like pictures of cards except for jacks. So the jacks are there's a two-eye jack and a one-eye jack. If you didn't know, I didn't know before this game.
Yeah.
The one-eye jack removes somebody's chip. The two-eye jack is a free space. So what you're trying to do is take your color and you have cards and you're trying to get five in a row. So it's really a strategic game because you're trying to do it, but you're trying to block somebody else with your jacks. It's a real fun game. And you can do teams, individual. Sequence. Everybody check it out.
You know what I like Mexican dominoes.
Mexican Train?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, yeah. That's a fun one too.
I
That's
love that.
a good game is good because, I enjoy some competition and I get a little
Yeah.
spiced up because I do not want to lose.
And there's always the easy go to where if I had to guess I would say that streaming probably increases this time of year versus summertime because you're not sitting out by your pool at 6 o'clock at night. Now you're inside. You've eaten dinner. Now you're like, oh well, let's turn on
True.
Ted Lasso or whatever.
Well, and you've got plenty of time to rewatch some things here before other stuff starts. Start
Yeah,
Stranger Things again,
yeah.
or for the first time.
So yeah, it's and
Find some different habits, different routines.
along the lines of get like the Friendsgiving idea, but along those lines, keep in touch with your friends. Reach out to those who if you know someone who maybe they're a military wife and their husband's deployed or something like that, where or maybe it's a single mom or whatever. Just check on those folks and just say, hey, why don't you, if you're not doing anything, come over and have Thanksgiving dinner with us, or whatever. Uh, be wary of those.
You need
You
some
know,
place to go.
this time of year where blahs for whatever reason tend to kind of creep in for a lot of folks.
I got one more good game. Outsmarted. It's a trivia game, and people
Mm,
can play. Like I could play with you, Jay, from your house to my house, and
mm.
you can put it. I project it on the TV, play it on your phone. So they have a board game of it too, but you can also project it on TV, and it's fun.
Smart TV to smart TV. Yeah.
It's a fun trivia game, and it's up to date. Like if there's a news category, it's up to date. It's really cool.
Oh, cool.
There you go. There's my game record. It's game season.
Anything else? Any other article information that you've got for?
No, I mean, kind of summarize it, understanding what the feelings are during this seasonal depression or holiday blues or weather affected mood, is people can tend to socially isolate, they feel down, their sleep habits can change, their eating may become a little more poor. This is a seasonal pattern. And then we need to really think about what's going on in our well, you don't have to think about what's going on in your body. I guess if you don't care, it doesn't matter. But what we're telling you is there's something biological going
Yeah.
on, which we've talked
It's
about.
not just in your head. It's not just
It's
psychological.
in
It's
your
a
head.
real
You're not,
physiological thing. Yeah.
yes, I'm glad you said that. You're not making it up. You're not losing your mind. It is a real physical thing that's happening in your body. So, and then what we said with some suggestions, the light therapy, you can buy a therapeutic lamp on Amazon. Maybe you do need some vitamin D, but don't go off of us. I mean, before you do a
Yeah.
supplement, check with
Do it healthy. Yeah.
practitioners, and get some sunlight. Try to go outside or sit by a window. And we're
Catch a
thinking,
sunrise instead of a sunset. Get your sunlight early instead of later.
and just kind of think about that 10 to 20 minute time
Yeah.
frame, right? To get some of that. Make yourself you got to force yourself to do some physical movement, whatever that looks like.
Well, not just physical movement, but just you got to be more attentive to self care this time of year
Yeah.
because your options are limited a little bit with less daylight. That's just the logistical fact of.
And figure out how to try to manage the stress. Don't just take it all. Just don't take it like a dumpster. Figure out what you got to say no to respectfully and what's burdening you. Like if you don't want to read every magazine that just came in the mail, that you don't have to. You really don't have to. And find some good connectivity, like Jay was saying, and good connection with people. It doesn't have to be the same traditional thing that everybody does. Go to a movie with a friend, call a friend, go out to dinner, play trivia game
Yep.
through your TV.
Find something new to stream because it's unlimited. I'm telling you, Netflix every month puts out a cajillion new things. So
Yes, they do.
Hallmark and Great American Family are
Wait, something came out
all
today.
the
I
new.
mean, they're all in the game. Like today, I saved something that said it gave what was going to be on Netflix, Hulu, Amazon Prime, and oh, here it is, Disney, Netflix, Hulu, and Prime on the holidays side. Besides your traditional Hallmark and American, what is it,
Great
Family
American Family. Yeah.
American Family Channel? Yeah, they're all in it. They're all in the game.
Awesome. So before we get out of here, let's switch gears real quick and
Yeah.
head over to music and movie trivia.
Okay, ready?
Yep, go ahead.
So since our 1985 special reunions coming up this weekend. Mine is a movie trivia question. So, in honor of our 1985 year, what was the highest grossing domestic box office film in 1985? Highest grossing domestic box office film of 1985. I know you're going to get this. You should get this.
I've got two in my mind. I know one of them was 1985. I'm not sure if the other one, the one that I know did really well at the box office, I'm not 100% sure it was 85. The one I'm sure was 85 may not have been a blockbuster at the movies. I'm just going to say Back to the Future.
You win. And I'm happy for you tonight. Usually I don't want you to win. You won. You got it.
It was between that and Breakfast Club.
Fair.
Because to me, Breakfast Club
Marty
symbolizes 1985 more so than Back to the Future because it was about high school.
Correct. We identify with the Breakfast Club, our class, for sure.
Yeah.
But we do love some Marty McFly. When we think about 85, we do think about the Breakfast Club. That is like an iconic movie for our class.
You know, that song My Simple Minds. That was like the song of 85.
You're so that is so accurate.
Yeah.
Yeah, there you go. You got it.
Funny, I saw that. I watched that maybe 2 or 3 weekends ago. It was on, and I watched it from beginning to end. And
I like that movie.
It just, it
never gets old.
Yep. So my question is also movies, and it is, what was Disney's very first feature film that they released?
All right, I'm just going to go with the first thing that popped into my head. Mary Poppins.
No, and I tend to try to guess.
Aristocats.
What's that?
The Aristocats.
No.
Tom Sawyer.
I would have gotten this wrong because I
Tom Sawyer, no?
Their very first full-length feature film was 1937.
Steamboat Willie.
Steamboat Willie was the first. It was the first time Mickey Mouse was ever animated. That's what that was. But Disney's very first full-length feature film that they released was Snow White and the Seven Dwarfs in 1937.
Snow White for the win. All right. We're flip-flop today. I didn't get it. I'm okay.
So speaking of watching things, what have you watched lately?
Negative, nothing, nada. I'm not kidding. Nothing. I'm sad about it. I'm sad, Jay. Marty's been watching Christmas shows. I'll see like 10 minutes of something. I just have not been able to make that a priority. And I'm sad about it.
So I did
but
not
I'm going to move it this week. I'm going to go. Thursday, it's my birthday. I'm going to go to the movies.
Happy birthday, by the way.
Now I caught up with you.
What are you going to see? Do you know?
Your own age. Well, I don't understand what's going on with the movie theater site. Because remember I told you it was showing one movie. And you said maybe
they just haven't updated it. Yeah.
So I wanted to see that one that you said to see. What was it?
Regretting You. It's really good. It's good. It's the ending fantastic. Yeah.
You'll love this. Marty decided, and you can't really pull a secret over on me, but anyway, he was trying to be slick and arrange a self-care day. Wouldn't you love? Don't you love that? That's great. He's pulling off on my learning. So he is like, we should get IVs, we should go out to lunch and go watch a movie. Yep. But he eventually had to tell me anyway. And then I was like, fine, I will look up the movie. And then I didn't see it. So I need to figure it out. If not, then I just may have to travel. I don't know why the movie theater would only have one movie listed for that day.
No, because normally they do a 12 o'clock, 12:30, and then like a 3 o'clock or something.
Unless they got something going on.
They should have more than one.
Yeah.
Yeah, I don't know because I've never been during the day, so I haven't really paid attention, to be honest with you.
Still, it just says one. What's going on with that? I don't want to have to drive. I'm lazy. Now, the day before, there's a bunch.
Yeah.
And the day after, it only says 2. Maybe they are just updating it, Jay. I don't know. In case you want to know, Grease is at the movie theater on Saturday.
Yeah, they've been doing like retro movies. Like they'll pitch. Yeah. I did not do the movies this past Friday. I did watch a series on Hulu. It's actually, it comes from a podcast. It's called Betrayal. It's basically just, where husbands or wives either they mess around and cheat, or they domestic violence, or they just bad things in marriages, and they talk about all the things. Basically, this season was about spouses that were leading like double lives, where they were like married but also had like another family on the side, or that kind of thing. So I'm like, man, how do you have the time and energy to do that? Number one. So that's kind of what I watched, and then
Yeah.
been watching The Voice. It's been really good. Last night, I was pleasantly surprised. I was flipping through Hulu and I found Love Island Australia. The brand new season started last night.
Oh,
So I think
boy.
I think the first 4 episodes had been released. So I watched the first 4 episodes.
Do they all have and they all have Australian accents?
No, there's a girl that's from Toronto, but she lives in Australia. She does not have an Australian accent. Sometimes they'll bring one of the cast members from the USA Love Island on Australia or the UK. So sometimes they do crossovers, and you'll recognize that's kind of cool, because there have been Australian people and UK people on the US version. They do that. That's pretty cool. So there are cast members that like might do it 2 or 3 times trying to find their person. So,
Okay.
but yeah, most of them do, but not all of them have that accent.
You know what I keep hearing that the younger ones talking about all the time in my life, the younger people in my life, people they love that Dancing with the Stars.
Yeah, it's funny how
They're with the younger.
back in the day, Dancing with Stars was kind of popular with the adult and older generation, and then it kind of faded away, and it went to streaming for a while. It wasn't even on regular TV. Well, now they've got like TikTok influencers and all this that come on there, and like that's brought the younger crowd back.
Is
They're
that
like
what it was?
Robert Irwin, Steve
Yeah.
Irwin,
Yeah.
his son, and he's good. He's really good.
Well, so is it back on regular TV?
Yeah.
So it went off, but now it's back.
Yep.
Wow.
It's doing the best ratings it's ever done.
Isn't that something? So
And then
that shows you where this
he's really
free.
good. And one of the girls from that show I watched, Secret Lives of Mormon Wives, she's fantastic too. Like, but she has dance background.
So these free marketing from TikTok. This is how it really changed something. That's kind of amazing.
Yeah, because if you've got 5 million followers on TikTok or Instagram or whatever, and you're just an influencer, you're not a celebrity.
Yeah,
They want to bring that audience to watch Dancing with the Stars. So that's what they've done,
that's
and
smart.
it's blown up. I mean, blown up. I don't really watch. I'll check like the highlights and go back and watch clips, but I don't actually watch the
Do they
show.
have the same announcers and things?
Alfonso Ribeiro Carlton is the host, and Julianne Hough, who used to be a dancer, was one of the pros. She's kind of the interviewer backstage.
Okay,
Derek Hough, her brother, who was a dancer, he's a
that's
judge.
her brother.
Carrie Ann Inaba, she's still a judge, and 2 of the 3 judges they've been there forever. One judge passed; he passed away a year or 2 ago. But yeah.
Huh. Well, that's what I've noticed. I don't know. I'm in a dry spell.
So yeah. Anyway, guys, we appreciate you tuning in to Easter Shore Talk. Thanks for joining us. Take care. We'll catch you next time. Take care, guys.